Hi, I'm Jesse Summer. Thank you for tuning in. Today we've got a really cool project planned. We're going to be forging out some dice. This is a project I've wanted to do for a while, but I haven't gotten around to doing it. So we've got some steel in the forge, and what we're going to do first is forge out a tool that will give us like the divots for the numbers on the dice. So we got to get that done before we can forge the dice, obviously. So I'll have some footage of that, and then we'll get into it. Polished off this just quick and dirty little round punch that we're going to use to mark the numbers in the dice. We got it hardened and tempered. It seems to have a nice hardening the way it bounces off the anvil, but it isn't so hard that it's like super brittle. It's maybe a little bit too hard, but it should be fine. We'll be using it with hot metal, and that should temper it a little bit. I don't think there's going to be any problems with it. So now I'm going to use some of this square bar, and basically what we're going to do is mark off a couple evenly spaced areas, and then we're gonna use the hot cut hardy tool and come in and cut that around all four sides, and do that for, I think we're gonna go with 2 or 3 dice on this, and then we're gonna draw out the other end and do a loop to make a nice little dice keychain, and that should work well. We'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little test using this and see how it works, and see if the divot is the right size or if we need to grind this a little bit. Okay, so the taper on the end of this was a little bit too blunt, so I took it over to the bench grinder and I just cleaned it up a little bit. Then I cleaned up the rear end, and then used the wire brush on it. So we got ourselves a nice little tool right here, just a quick little thing that we'll be able to use on a lot of different projects. And I think tool making is one of my favorite parts about this craft. I know this isn't a very complicated tool or anything like that, but it's still really fun to be able to make something yourself and then use it to make other things. There's a lot of items you can make that, yeah, they're nice to look at, but a lot of them don't serve all that much of a purpose. So forging something that you can actually use is very, very fun. So with that said, we've got this piece of steel hot, and we're going to go ahead and test it out so that we don't spend too much time making something and then screwing it up. Alright, so that seemed to work out well. So what I've gone ahead and done is marked out what seems to be 3 evenly spaced areas. I didn't make it like exact or anything like that, but then we're going to use our hot cut hardy tool and isolate all these off, and then we're going to go and we're going to mark the numbers in, and then we'll draw out the piece that will do like a little scroll in, And then we'll twist these to make them offset from one another so they look like stacked up dice. And we can make a really cool keychain out of that. Broke this apart because there's a lot of stress in that one little area, so that's a bummer. But I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another dice onto the one that's still in the bar and just make the keychain out of 2 dice and just have this one as a little knick-knack. It's still very cool, and I think definitely seeing this the proper way to do this would be to use a hacksaw to separate the dice, because that's a lot thinner. I wanted to just use my hot cut Hardy tool because that's a lot faster, but it doesn't look as good as if I were to use a hacksaw. So in the future I'll definitely do that. But alright, so it's a little bit later now. I decided to go ahead and cut off that one dice that was on here, and go at it at the correct approach with using the hacksaw to cut in the slot. So I went ahead and did that, and I made the divots for the numbers. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw back this material here. Well, we'll cut it off first. Maybe not, maybe we'll leave some. Yeah, we're gonna cut it off first and then draw out this material, make a little loop that'll be for your keychain, and then we'll twist these so they're offset, and then file this so it's nice and flat and square, and then that'll be it.
Takten alla fest, fullfest hela dagen. Mjöl från livets grottekvarn. Fullfest hela dagen. Stort på stort, det har vi alltid gjort. Så det är fullfest hela dagen. Alla fullfest hela dagen. Mjöl från livets grottekvarn. Fullfest hela dagen. Stort på stort, det har vi alltid gjort. Så det
Alright, so I finished up. I'm not too happy with it. I don't think I cut the slot deep enough there, so I didn't really get a good twist. It kind of just distorted it, but oh well. At least I tried, and it was a fun idea, and not a total failure. It's still cool, and that just gives me a place to build off of. So still a success in that nature. All right, so thanks for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good day.